It feels frustrating if you try to achieve your goals and it just doesn't work out and you feel disappointed. And to avoid these mistakes so that you can achieve your goals, right? I've made this video so that you can avoid them and instead do what really works, right? And I've noticed that I have done multiple mistakes when it comes to this, and I've seen a lot of other people doing the same mistakes when it comes to manifesting your dreams. So the first thing is, when people want to manifest their dreams, first is you have to make sure that it's really yours. Okay? And what do I mean? I mean, we live in a society that not everything is created in a way for us that you really live a happy life, right? So to be honest, like most people, they just don't give a shit, right? And so it's necessary to understand, okay, what is your own goal, right? And what was implanted into you. I remember at the start when I started, I had a lot of implanted goals. Like I thought studying will be something for me and things like that. And nowadays I think it's totally absurd. Like I will never do that. I don't give a shit about that, right? As an example, like in my case, it was like that. Okay. So basically, what can you do? So there are two things. One is you have to look, where does your goal, your dream come from? Is it from your intuition? Right? This is a feeling that feels like a yes, a feeling of expansion, usually around your belly, your solar plexus, right? So when you think on your goal, is it an expansion? Is it a yes towards this goal? And it doesn't mean that everything what you do to go towards your goal is totally joyful. You cry every single second out of joy. That's not what I mean. Of course, you still will have pain and uncomfortable things. It's more like that your intuition gives a yes towards this goal itself, right? And the opposite of this is contraction. So it's a feeling of contraction overall, right? Like when it comes to this, when you think on this feeling, on this goal overall, it's a feeling of contraction. You usually have thoughts like, I should do this, should, something I should, or because someone said so. Okay? And this is what you need to question. When you look on your life overall, just question, where does this come from, right? Like, where does this idea, this thought come from that I have to do this, or that I need to do this, right? It can be any area, any area, just take any area, right? Where does this idea come from that you have to do this, that you have to go for it, that you have to be like that, right? And who said it? What is absurd about that? What is bullshit about that? Okay, what is absurd about that? By questioning that, you weaken these beliefs, right? You weaken these beliefs, and then you realize, okay, wait, I don't have to do what people told me in the past. Why is it important that it comes from your intuition? Because if it comes from your mind operates based on the past. So it's usually someone has implanted a thought into you, and now the mind tells you, okay, you have to go for that. But this comes just from the past. This has nothing to do with you creating a new life. So it will just recreate your past. Okay? That's what will happen if you do it the old way or the way where you listen to the mind. Okay? So that's what's necessary. Look at your goals overall, listen to your intuition, question these old beliefs. What is bullshit about it? Is it really true or is it not true? Right? Look where whether you have these thoughts like that you have to go for that because someone said so, because of the family, because of society, because everyone makes it that way. These are hints that this is not the right way, or that you think you should do it because of something. The because part, the part after the because is a justification of your own conditioning. Your mind tries to justify itself. Okay, and the second thing, what you can do to what is the mistake? First of all, you can avoid, and what can you instead? Is a lot of people they are too much either into their doing or into their being. Usually as men, you're more too much into your doing. So you take tons of action, but you can't just be, and it's usually very strong forced. So the intention of this action, your state is not that high, right? So there's a lot of force instead of that you just do aligned action rather than excessive action or putting too much, you have too much attachment towards this action. And this is why you feel then frustrated. If something doesn't work out, even if it works out, you still feel bad, right? Because there's an over-identification of action. So there has to be a balance between being and doing. Okay, where your self-esteem comes from the being, right? On the opposite, of course, the good thing, of course, is you're good at taking action, right? So it's you're then good at taking action, and well, it should be no problem for you to take action. The opposite is the being part. This is where the person is good at being in the flow, but is more passive, right? Being too passive, waiting too much, feeling good with oneself, being too passive. So what can you do? If you notice that you have these expectations about taking action, you're over-identified with that, it's hard for you to stop, or you feel disappointed if something doesn't go your way. So basically, when you don't get the result, you feel bad, right? This is a sign. Then this is what you can do, simply learn before you do an activity to become conscious. So before you do a new activity, you become conscious. You just shortly become conscious, feel your body, ask yourself who I am, right? Where I am, like you look at the room, right? What do I do? And it's not just about these questions, it's more also about becoming conscious while asking these questions. Then you start to disidentify with the taking action part. You can still take action, of course, just that you're not so strong attached to it. You can literally also be. Okay? This is one thing what you can do to be more into your being, but still to take action, of course. What can you do if you come from the other side? From the other side, you need really to become aware of your pain. Like become aware of your why, and especially the pain. So things that you don't like about your life, what pisses you off. Because if you're too much into your being, you usually are very passive. So you need at least some pressure, right? Another thing that you can do is, of course, to make it a part of your identity, that you just take action while building little momentum. Just build little momentum every day. Start with small steps, reward yourself for that, and think on your why, and think also on the painful part, something that you don't like. This creates pressure and leverage, right? And by doing that, the balance by being and having will be restored. So this is when you can truly manifest, right? When it feels effortless, right? If you're over-identified with taking action, then you're just forcing these things. It's very hard to attain the goals because your state suffers very strong, because it's dependent on taking action, the outcome, and all these things, whether things go your way. And this is what you have to give up. That things have to go your way. You have to allow that things doesn't have to go your way. So basically release these expectations while still going the way you want. I know it sounds paradox, but basically you go the way you want, but by releasing your expectations about that. And you do this by becoming more conscious. You become more conscious, and then the more conscious you become, the more you realize these restrictions, these beliefs that you should do instead of that you want to do, by the way, right? You have to realize you want actually to do this thing, or you don't want, then you stop this action, because you don't have to do excessive action, right?